There are two kinds of horror. There's the kind that makes us laugh and cheer with every blood splatter. Then there's the type that leaves us still, that makes us afraid to move or speak, that reaches into the darkest parts of our psyche and makes a home. Author Dathan Auerbach unleashed that horror upon us with his first book, Penpal, and now he leads us back to that dark place with his new book, Bad Man. Bad Man is written by Dathan Auerbach and published by Blumhouse Books and Doubleday. Their marketing team contacted me and asked me if I would review the book in exchange for a copy, and the moment that I heard it was the new Dathan Auerbach book, I was game. If you're not familiar with Dathan Auerbach's first book, Penpal, you may not understand my excitement. Penpal was a book that was originally published as a series of posts on the No Sleep Reddit. It was very, very creepy. It got a huge following, so Dathan Auerbach put the whole thing together and published it as a novel. It's a very short book and an easy read. It's about a boy who in kindergarten, they release these balloons with their school's address on it. And the idea is that someone will find the balloon and write to the children, and the kids will have a pen pal. The narrator, instead of getting a letter, he gets a bizarre Polaroid photograph. And then the Polaroids start coming to his home, and it seems that this person who has received his balloon knows who he is, knows where he lives, and follows him throughout his life. It's a really haunting, horrific book. It's the kind of book that will keep you up at night. It's the kind of book that's going to make you not want to walk home alone, and that ending will give you nightmares. So here we are in 2018 and Bad Man is out, and this is a lot different than Penpal. It's this gorgeous hardcover book. Penpal, I believe you can only get in paperback. It looks like Dathan Auerbach has come a long way, and he was already doing pretty good to begin with. So what is Bad Man about? Bad Man is about two brothers, the oldest, Ben, who's a teenager, and the youngest, Eric, who's a toddler. Ben takes his brother with him to the supermarket, and then his brother goes missing. He turns his back for a second, and Eric is no longer there. From there, the novel flashes forward 5 years. Nobody has ever been able to find Eric or any sign of where he went. Ben thought that he saw a suspicious vehicle leaving, and he remembers when his brother went missing that there was somebody offering to help him, which he thought was very suspicious, but that lead went nowhere, and now he has really no idea what happened to his brother, but he blames himself. He puts flyers up every day. He asks door to door, but he's really getting nowhere. Meanwhile, his family is in a bad place. They don't have a lot of money. His stepmother is destroyed after losing her son. So Ben decides that he needs to get a job so that he can help the family out. Now, Ben does have a bad leg and he doesn't have a car, but he does know he can get a job at the supermarket where his brother went missing. Now, Ben hasn't been back to the supermarket since Eric was taken, so this is really hard on his family, and this is really hard on him. It brings up a lot of old demons. And the moment he starts working at the store, things are off. He works the night shift. He mostly does stalking, so it's quiet, it's a little creepy, there are strange noises. He really likes his coworkers. They seem like a couple of really nice guys, but there are some bizarre things happening. A lot of things related to Eric start coming up that seem very suspicious, and so he starts to wonder, is somebody messing with him? Is somebody trying to tell him something? Does somebody know something about Eric and they're trying to get that information to him? Or is the kidnapper getting bored and leaving little breadcrumbs to drive Ben crazy? And the biggest question, is Eric still alive, and is there still a chance that Ben might find him? So let's just get right into it. I really enjoyed this book, and I saw a tremendous amount of growth in the author between Penpal and this book. The writing is so much better, the descriptions are so rich, he has such a talent for developing atmosphere and mood. So I want to keep this spoiler free, but to just give you an idea of how good the writing is, I'm going to read you a tiny passage from the book. The sun had set and a slow breeze drifted lazily through the thinning trees. Clouds collected somewhere off in the distance, as if the round moon had repelled them like soap in a grease trap. All around were the sounds of children screaming and laughing. Phantoms and ghouls, monsters and princesses swarmed the usually quiet neighborhoods. Outnumbering the houses nearly 5 to 1, they darted and banked like fireflies, stopping only to receive their bounty before rushing to the next house. So as you can see with that passage, the metaphors are wonderful. He has such unique ways of building a picture in your head, and so the whole book feels very visual. I also really commend him for a great prologue. Sometimes I feel like prologues are a little bit throwaway, but this one, it had two characters walking through the woods. They're little boys, and they are talking about how it's dangerous to be in the woods because a lot of strange things have happened in this town, including a little boy who went missing, and they mention his brother who's still looking for him. So I thought that was a really clever way of introducing us to Ben and Eric and setting up the story. I also really liked the characters, especially Ben. He feels real. He doesn't feel like a stock character. This is a kid who, he's 15, he's lost his brother, he's going through a lot. He was also in a car accident with his parents when he was a kid, so he has a very bad leg that causes him constant pain, and he deals with being overweight, namely because having a bad leg, it's very difficult to be all that active. I just really felt for this character, the way he is struggling so hard to find his brother and, more importantly, to find redemption. He blames himself for his brother missing, and he's taken it upon himself to be the one to find him. He also doesn't trust a lot of adults or authority, which is something that we deal with later on in the book. I also really loved the dialogue in this book. The characters all have their own authentic voices, and when they come together, the way that they're speaking to each other feels very natural. And I especially loved when Ben is talking to his friends at work, especially his friend Marty. They had this just great banter, and Marty is just really funny, and listening to them talk and goof around and the things that they were doing during the slower times at work reminded me a lot of some of my verse jobs. Also, being a teenager of the 90s, I really loved the setting. The book never comes out and tells you exactly what year it's in, but there are a lot of references in the book that make it pretty clear. References like hoarded phones and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This setting also worked really well with the story. It's set in southern Florida in more of a rural area. So this is kind of one of those small towns where everybody knows everybody, but do you really know everybody? And that's a big part of what this book is about. It's also very hot. You just get this overwhelming, uncomfortable, sticky, kind of gross feeling, and it worked very well with the atmosphere in this story. Now, as far as criticisms go, I really don't have a lot. This is a slower paced book than his last novel, but I can't even really call that a criticism because this has a very Southern Gothic feel to it, and those kind of horror stories unwind a little bit slower. And I feel like that great prologue and those first few chapters that set up the story intrigued me enough that even during the slower parts, I couldn't put the book down. However, I know that Southern Gothic style of writing isn't for everybody, so if that's not your cup of tea, this may drag for you in places. It also felt like it took a while for anything to really happen. Now, this worked in some respects because it makes us question Ben. It makes us question how reliable he is and whether or not we can really trust him as our protagonist. I also feel that seeing the monotony of Ben's life, him going to work, him coming home, seeing the constant pain he's in, really did help cement us in this setting and bond us to this character. That said, I have to admit, there are a couple places where I was like, come on, just get on with it already. I gotta know. So I'm just gonna let you guys know, hang with it, because when stuff starts happening, it gets really good. I will not spoil the ending for you, but I will tell you that I didn't see it coming and it was intense. This is scary on a whole other level. This is scary beyond vampires and monsters. This is real small town horror. This is the kind of horror that could actually happen in your life. And to me, that's the scariest kind. The kind where you take a second glance at your neighbors, your family, your friends, because you may not really know who these people are. So if you like a good mystery, if you enjoy Southern Gothic horror, or if you're just really looking to be scared this fall, I recommend checking out Bad Man by Dathan Auerbach. This book is available now and you can find it pretty much anywhere. But now I want to hear from you guys. I got a few new books that I want to show off, and I'd love you guys to let me know in the comments below which book you would like to see me review next. So the first one I have to show you is Return to Fear Street. I loved the Fear Street books when I was a kid. R.L. Stine has brought them back. This is the first in the Return to the series. There's another one I think coming out in November. This one's called You May Now Kill the Bride, and already I'm excited about this one just because it's got an awesome cover. cover. It's made to look all worn and weathered, and I just cannot wait to dive back into Fear Street. The next one I have is Hocus Pocus. This is a novelization of the movie that adds a few new things to the story, as well as a sequel. It has the protagonist from that movie. They've grown up. I believe they have a daughter, and then the Sanderson sisters come back. So I love that movie, and I cannot wait to check this out. And I just think that cover art is awesome. I really like all the colors. And lastly, I have a book that was sent to me by a publisher. This is The Hunger. I don't know a whole lot about it, but the reviews made this book sound intense. I think what I remember is that it's about the Donner Party, and you find out that there are supernatural reasons why they ended up eating each other. And Stephen King has given this praise. R.L. Stine has. A lot of authors that I really love are saying that this book is very scary and it's going to keep me up at night and give me nightmares, and I just kind of love having nightmares. So I'm excited to read this one too. So those are my books. Let me know which one you want to see a review of next. I will review all 3 of them. It's just a matter of what order I'm going to do it. And let me know what you think of Badman, if you've read it, if you enjoyed it, and if you plan on picking it up. And if you guys know of any really cool horror books, I'm trying to get back into reading, so you can always find me at Horror Addicts TV on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We also have a new Facebook group called the Gory Hole that you're welcome to join if you want to come and chat horror with us. And of course, there's Horror Addicts Anonymous. That's our Patreon group where we talk about what we're going to be reviewing next, where we watch movies together, and we have loads of fun, just surprises, giveaways, polls, and a whole lot more. So if you'd like to join that community with us, you can find that over on patreon.com/Horror Addicts TV. Thanks for watching. Cut!
Yeah.